Organising the National is a colossal task. This is the 37th rally, which goes back even before the Association of Rover Clubs was formed in 1978. The event is a potent catalyst, bringing people and ideas together from widely ranging backgrounds. The common bond is dedication and support of rover vehicles.
Right, thanks a lot. Have you got a plastic bag or
This is the 15th Association of Rover Clubs National Rally, and by tradition it is hosted each year by a different member club. This year the event was planned to be hosted by the Red Rose Land Rover Club, and that was my friend here, Harold Lowe.
That's right.
And there were problems.
We ran into difficulties actually with the land. We then turned to the ARC and asked for help, and fortunately all the clubs agreed. We managed to pull together, and now you're seeing the results of it.
We are faced with people from all over the country clubbing together to put this event on. The logistics of that are quite formidable, bearing in mind we are all doing this as a hobby. This is not a professional presentation.
This is the first event when the ARC has worked as a single unit to make the event happen, which it probably won't be the last time for certain. The measure of success is different in everybody's eye as well. We have people who come here purely to caravan for a weekend, whose measure of success is that the field is dry and that the showers work or the toilets are clean. And we have the competition motors whose measure of success is that they win a trophy and aren't really interested in the caravan side particularly. So to say any one event is successful will depend on who you speak to. From a global point of view, I would say that yes, this has been a very successful event. We're very pleased with the outcome so far.
That's when all the ammo is gone.
Evans Holshaw this year are the sponsors of the RTV trial. Evans Holshaw, suppliers of Land Rover parts and panels, can supply you direct with delivery to your door. Evans Holshaw for all your Land Rover parts and panels.
Take one.
So, into the action at last. The road tax vehicle trial motored along with 134 entries, well up on last year's record entry of 91. Most fans consider the RTV to be a great introduction to serious off-road trialling, as the route and general terrain are designed not to rip the sump from beneath your Pride and Joy Series 2 after the first bend. It does, though, put a little pressure on the driver's skill. Your vehicle must be taxed, MOT'd, mechanically sound and road legal, but there's no age or model barrier. Series 1 old stages, for example, built up to 1958 from virtually the end of World War II, can happily take on the latest torquey discovery.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We need to get around.
Yes.
Is there any chance that over the motorway that would actually almost exclusive use?
There's a good chance they banned me, Chief, already.
I can't let you see it. You think you can find it? Right, if you like to just
play around with the vehicle.
rev it up.
Appreciative spectators watch a few vital last-minute checks.
Everybody go spare wheel, just knocking them off.
Then it's off to the start of the course, and the first real test of both man and machine. Oops, not forgetting ladies like Barbara Danson of the Lancs and Cheshire Rover Owners Club, who we'll be seeing later in the team recovery with husband Eric. Drivers have to travel between points A and B, traversing a series of gates marked by canes from number 12 down to number 1. Teams need to take the most direct line without hitting the gates. If you do that, then you pick up penalty points according to gate number. So touching gate 9, for instance, would mean an unwelcome mark down by 9 points, and so on. If you touch nothing, you'll pick up the best score possible, a big fat 0. Deep trenches, tracks like ploughed fields and ruts wide enough to swallow a battleship are all par for the course. Rovers with a long wheelbase, like the Range Rover, get a bit of extra help. They can stop and take one shunt to set a better course line and then set off again. Gently does it, showing how it should be done, is Adrian Bolg from the Hanson Berkshire Rover Owners Club, who came 4th in class. Adrian pulls smoothly out of the muddy puddle and into the barren hills, showing just exactly how difficult and changeable conditions were for the Nationals weekend. Terry Stocks here from the Staffs and Shrops Land Rover Club, taking the same bend. Watch the way the vehicle flexes and bends around some of this rough terrain, and it's really down to Terry to make sure that he puts it neatly between those canes. Full marks, and on to the next section. Putting it all together nicely is Ian Gilbert from the Peak and Dukeries in Class 3, who managed to come 23rd overall. A number of drivers underestimated the steepness of this hill. Watch Ian try to take it at full speed, but not quite making it. Flying the flag for Holland is Harry van Duijenen. He managed a disappointing 18th in class, overall 130th. But then with difficult gates to negotiate like these, Harry had his work cut out for him. Into the mud and up the hill. And success at a part of the course where many competitors came unstuck. Each year, the National seems to offer even more difficult condition than the last. These slippy banks and rutted fields really adds to the tension of the event and sharpen drivers' concentration to the nth degree. Danny Hoy from the North East Club shows just how well you can coordinate brakes and steering to tackle some of these rough and ready obstacles. Here's one entry that's definitely a little late for competing in the RTV, but then with a long wheelbase VW, what can you expect? Meanwhile, back on the course, putting it all together is Ian Dewstra from the Peak and Dukeries. He managed 7th in class, a very big entry for that one in particular, and 22nd overall. Easy does it, Ian, up and over again. This time it's Michael Hopley from Peak and Dukeries, Nice bit of control on the brakes and the clutch to take his Series 2 down into the waddy in the far left. But it wasn't all dry as desert conditions, as Mike soon found out round the next corner and further on in the stage. Bit more power to the wheels. He's up and over and well pleased. Kevin Andrew is a successful off-roader for the Pennines Club. He takes a wider line than Mike, but then brings power to the wheels a little earlier. Good control, and he's through. Ken Brain from the Cornwall and Devon Rover Club travelled all the way up to the Midlands for the event. No problems with the hill. And he's followed by Colin Barker from the Yorkshire Club, taking things nice and easy before he hits the gradient. Holding the Rover, but the judges call a foul. Sarah Oxley from the Peak and Dukeries found this part of the course really testing. She wasn't alone. Harry van Duijnem from Holland nosing his Rover into this tricky section. Look how deep those ruts are and the way the suspension actually takes some of the bending and torquing on that rutted ground. A successful drive for Harry though, out through the canes. For some ragged applause. But there was one driver who had it all taped from the start. 160 hit this particular section at speed, carried the momentum through, power right through to the driving wheels, and despite a little wheel spin, out the other side successfully. Here's Adrian Bolg again, who's had some good preparation for this particular area, or so it seems. He's sticking to the established ruts and tracks, nice and smoothly through the deep part. And certainly when one obstacle gets in the way, he bumps and bangs his way through. Nearly there, you may think. But there was one little surprise left, waiting for aid just at the end of the section. It's worth reflecting on the fact that all these vehicles have to be driven home following this event, and of course they have to be road legal. So you can imagine Harry here has to go all the way back to Holland after driving across this particular muddy, wet, deeply rutted field. Robert Baisley from the Midlands Club is on home ground. I just hope he's got some friendly relation at home ready with a hose pipe after chugging through all this lot. Coach work aside, a good section there for Robert. Maurice Joyce from the Essex Club came second in class and sixth overall with a bit of fine driving like this. Excellent, gentle control right the way through the gates.
Andrew! Sit!
So, with the final RTV table looking like this, it's top honours overall to Dave Roberts from the Breckland Rover Club. Second was Mick Doherty from Hanson Barks. Third was Dave Foster from Cornwall and Devon. Joint fourth was Ian Beckett, also from Cornwall and Devon, and Martin Dransfield from Yorkshire. In sixth place was Maurice Joyce, the Essex Rover Club member.
The Team Recovery event is this year sponsored by International Off-Roader magazine, available from newsagents or on subscription. International Off-Roader also runs a book and video shop for 4x4 enthusiasts all over the UK.
Now this is what I came to see. The Team Recovery is a test of cunning, a dash of luck and a large dollop of sheer skill to scale this formidable bank. Harold Carman is course clerk who's watched the teams dwindle.
Well, we started off with 12 and then one couldn't get the motors finished in time, and then the scrutineering's taken account of 2 of them, and we've ended up with 6 teams.
Jean-Luc Guillot and Jeff Edwards from the Southern Rover Club managed the first pull in 6 minutes 52 seconds. Pretty reputable, you'd think. But the trick now is to unhitch as quickly as possible and get both vehicles back to the finish line.
Well in there, guys.
If you thought last year's Newnham Park course in Plymouth in Devon was rough with its submarine wall and a muddy puddle, try this. Here's the 2 Daves, Kelly and Jones, from North Wales. Their first pull was achieved in 6 minutes 54 seconds, very close to Jean-Luc and Jeff Edwards' time. The knack is to go for a quick snatch pull on the line, then put power efficiently from engine to wheels at the same moment. It calls for solid mechanical preparation as the trial causes havoc with half shafts and differential links. You really have to know your winching techniques by heart. Once one vehicle's out, the soft and sloppy as it were, the team will swap places. A short pull up the second of the fierce banks rounds off the first part of this especially difficult trial. Here's husband and wife team Eric and Barbara Danson from the Lancs and Cheshire Club powering in with a tremendous time of 5 minutes 19. Don't forget the handbrake, Babs. It's Eric's turn to be literally driven up the wall. It's all down to synchronising the pull and drive of the two vehicles, with Barbara providing the power from the top of the hill. She makes the link, back to the vehicle, and it's a quick pull up the second bank. Each team has a second run this year. Harold Carman explains why.
We don't let them measure the hill, so therefore is that they need some idea of, you know, what gear they're going to go in, what length of ropes they're going to need, and a lot of them go cautiously at the first run, and they like it. The second run is the one where they go for it. We've got to take into account the ground. We know that if they hit it too hard, they're going to break diffs and they're going to break gearboxes.
Wise words from our clerk of the course. Here's Tim Curran and Keith Norris from Lancashire and Cheshire doing just that. They scored a 15-minute maximum on their first run. This second bite at the cherry gave them a king-size mechanical headache. With a sickening thump, two half shafts are destined for the scrap heap.
Looks like he's done two half shafts, front and back.
Here's Jean-Luc Guillot and Jeff Edwards again, this time with their second run at the hill. You may remember last year seeing this team taking on the challenge of Plymouth's muddy puddle. This year, it was much of the case that the sky was the limit. Not pretty, but effective. Time to swap over, and it's Jeff's turn to take the strain. Number one on their doors and destined for pole position for the team recovery. Ron Baker and Charles Darby from the Southern Rover Club complete the second run in 3 minutes 14 seconds. For their first run, the pair managed 4 minutes 21, close behind Malcolm Whitbread and Brian Warner, who compete under the Hanson Barks banner. A great time. And just to prove it doesn't always take two to tango, here's Ron deciding to tackle the second bank on his own even before Charles arrives. That's style for him. And not wishing to be outdone, here's the Norris Curran team having a go at the same bank with almost the same result. The combination were almost successful, an awful lot of wheel spin here on the second attempt. But unfortunately not quite making it. Still a valiant effort. Barbara and Eric Danson were philosophical about their first attempt. They were destined for overall fourth position, total time 10:21. At this stage, though, they were still in third place and everything to drive for.
But it's the first time I've entered, well, first time we've both entered, isn't it?
Yeah, we've seen
Never done it before.
numerous times. It's hard on the motors, but as you saw, there's a couple out with dips. So we've survived, we're ready to go again tomorrow now.
But is the team recovery really a sport for the fairest sex?
It can be, but they need a lot of support from the husbands because, I mean, he's the mechanic. I mean, I can do certain things, but basically he's built them both from scratch, from the ground up. It can be, but you need a lot of support from other people. I mean, we've got, apart from that, you need support from your club as well. We've got an engineering shop going around our tents and caravans at the moment because there's welders, grinders, everything is going. The whole club is rallying together to get everybody through scrutineering and get them to an event on time.
Mobile, our premier points.
Yes.
And I'm saving up for a pair of overalls.
So we are 1, 2, we're last. No, next to last. 5th, 6th.
Tell you what, you'll have to come out with instructions off LNC. Best I can do. We have a training day, you see. We have a training day specially for...
And a final word with our winners.
We were a bit worried about the second slope from the diff point of view. And on the second run, we thought Ron would take a chance of getting up there. It's been mine's a standard motor. I knew I couldn't get up there, so Ron took the chance with his, which is a little bit more specialised than mine.
It's not quite a standard Land Rover, but it's all down to a bit of luck sometimes, really.
After the team recovery, we have Ron Baker and Charles Darby from Southern in first place with a time of 7 minutes 35 seconds. Second was Malcolm Whitbread and Brian Warner from Hanson Barks, their time 7:58. Third was Martin Gallis and Michael Gillett from the Midlands Club at 10:17, and coming fourth was Eric and Barbara, clocking in a very respectable time of 10:21. Taking top honours in the concourse is very much a labour of love. The event is purely static, featuring Rover cars, Range and Land Rovers of all ages. Appearance and condition are paramount, with every inch of paintwork, chrome and upholstery spick and span. There's just as much a place here for the proud owner of the Standard Series 1 as there is for the forward drive 101 fan from the 90s. Some owners favour chassis extensions, which means a conversion could put up to 10 inches that will dramatically increase a Rover's roominess. But the concourse isn't all gleaming V8s, bull bars and pristine diff locks. Environmental concerns touch everyone these days. Responsible manufacturers like Land Rover have introduced catalytic converters to exhaust systems and cylinder heads compatible with lead-free petrol. And how's this for pint-sized perfection? A Rover Mini that Alec Isigonis would be pleased with.
The Winch Recovery, a challenging event for man and machine. And what better way to tackle such a challenge than with a super winch? Super Winch, the quality winch specialists, sponsoring this event.
That's right, yeah.
So that would cause
That would, yeah.
What you could do is pick it up on a piece of rope, put it in the boat and take it over.
No, somebody else came up with that one and we scrubbed that one. Yeah. You know, it's a case of how many do you turn round and...
That's right. I mean, well, when you say, you know, you assume...
There's that many different ideas
if you're doing a winch recovery, you assume you use a winch.
Assuming you use a winch, yeah.
That's all we've done.
Yeah. The idea of the exercise is to take a barrel off the mainland to the island and back again, using 4 boxes. The 4 boxes, which have a motor in each box, you can see there's a pallet in the centre of the lake. They've got to touch the pallet on the way back. So they bring it back, drop it on the mainland, and then back to the box again, all the way off the clock.
Hello, in, make sure you got all the tack with him.
The first one was 45 minutes. The second one, we didn't quite do it right, was 1 minute 20 thereabouts. There's 6 teams 2 Land Rovers in the maximum of 4 in a team.
So, to recap, the winch recovery fuses those separate disciplines of beating the clock and fine judgment over towing and manoeuvring awkward loads. The timed event, as we've heard, features a team of 2 vehicles, complete with winch and crew of 2 or 3. Once those winch or tow ropes are attached, it's strictly hands-off and everything comes down to slick coordination between the team. By the way, don't get too excited about that supposed rather tempting-looking beer barrel. It was actually full of murky, smelly lake water. Now let's see how the winners managed. This bird's eye view from Adrian Gregory of the Midlands Club.
Well, the first thing was to understand exactly what the task entailed. This was to move a barrel from one side of the lake to the other side of the lake and back again, having touched a pallet in the middle of the lake in the process. To do this, we had to have one person of the team go to the other side of the lake using a dinghy and pulling on a cable which was tensioned by the 2 vehicles of our team. Once the person got over there, they were able to pull the barrel over, and we moved then about 20 yards further down the bank to the other boxes where we had to position the vehicles to return the barrel. We then tensioned the wire again and pulled the boat and the barrel back to the middle position where the pallet was in the water. We lowered the barrel down to the pallet, touched the pallet as required, retensioned the cable and pulled the boat and the barrel back as quickly as possible, and then reinstated all the equipment into the 2 boxes where we had to start and finish. And basically that was all we had to do. We had a few different techniques, ideas of what way to go, and once we concluded exactly what we had to do from the clerk of the course, Brian Kerfoot, we studied it and worked on one route which seemed to be the best one. It worked out well. We had a bit of luck. The tripod didn't collapse on us, whereas it did on some other people. We managed to get the boat to go where it wanted to go, as opposed to start drifting down the lake or going sideways. And a bit of thought, and everything went surprisingly well. Some of the other teams were a little bit quicker, but gained more penalty points, so we gained in that way.
Was there anything worth having in the barrel when you got it out?
No, it's complete. Well, it started out completely empty and the top was off, so the only thing which ended up was the dregs of the lake. I don't think I really wanted any of those.
This year, the national trial is sponsored by Land Rover Owner International, publishers of UK's biggest off-road magazine, available from newsagents or on subscription. LRO also runs an extensive book and video shop with t-shirts and sweatshirts available for all enthusiasts.
Now, the National wouldn't be the National without the cross-country vehicle trial. It's an environmental minefield of woods, rivers, ditches, hollows and earth walls, adding a new meaning to the phrase up and under. It's certainly billed as the biggest challenge of the weekend and a real test of the mettle of both man, woman and machine. Tougher than the RTV, it's more suited to true off-roaders and their vehicles. The 15 sections laid out across a nightmare terrain demand that drivers should negotiate each without stopping and without coming into contact with the markers. The further a competitor gets without help through one of these torturous sections, the fewer penalty points are totted up. A total of 12 penalties at the start reduces the farther a vehicle manages to successfully negotiate its way through such testing conditions. This couple came to grief with a particularly sedate and delicate side topple.
I will, yeah.
On a bank which was to prove a real killer later in the competition. Apart from dramatic spills like that, judges keep open a sharp eye for other stops which rack up further penalties as the course progresses. Still no harm done. Through the mud, keeping those white trainers pristine, and onward. The bank certainly made its presence felt as one vehicle after another piled into it with varying degrees of success. But success indeed for 168. Tim Derbyshire from Staffs and Shrops showing how it should be done. He came 7th overall and 2nd in class, and he was up against more than 180 competitors. And here's another hopeful about to get that sinking feeling. Now, Martin Cecil from the Midlands Club doesn't do things by halves. Quiet enough at this stage, but then it's foot down, a bit of wheel work, some brute force. But watch those spectators, Martin.
Good deal, wasn't it? Yeah, see there, yeah. By the time we got one out, we've been struggling all morning.
Some sections of the CCV gave drivers the opportunity to pick up a little more speed. The tree section took off some of the pressure from those earlier mud wallows for the dryness of the woodland glade. Competition may be fierce, but it creates a weekend that makes new friends while meeting old ones from nationals from years gone by. The best bit of all is the chance to pit your wits and skills against the hottest competition in Britain. The international flavour is best summed up by a Norwegian fan who wouldn't miss this weekend for the world.
We went over to Trentham and the tent next to ours, where they were from the North Wales Club, and they said they were coming over to Norway the next year, which was our 15th year's anniversary for our Land Rover Club, Norwegian Land Rover Club. And we're driving through the mountains, taking a funny way, and around the bend, there they were, 4 or 5 English Land Rovers going to that meeting in Norway, and we just met them on a small road, you know, and the same people we were living next to the year before in Trentham. And now, when we came here late Friday night, the first people we met were them, among all these people. So, and we write letters to each other and send pictures of Land Rovers and meetings and everything. It's nice, it's a special kind of life, really, having a Land Rover.
Time then to check the leaderboard for the CCV. First was John Firth from the Yorkshire Rover Owners Club. Second was Andy Hardcastle from Lancs and Cheshire. Third place honours went to Peter Waldridge from the Midlands. And joint fourth was shared by Mike Bastable from the Somerset and Wilts Club, Andy Retallick from Cornwall and Devon, and Tom Boydell from Lancs and Cheshire. Even before the rigours of off-roading take their toll, the all-important scrutineering can make or mar a team's weekend. Chief scrutineer is Steve Barnwell.
Obviously, I'm probably can be regarded as the most loved man on ARC national site. The scrutineering as a whole has not been too bad. Obviously, being the ARC national, we have, and it's being run by a multi-club ARC scrutineering team, that is scrutineers from all clubs, not just the one host club as in normal ARC nationals. We've got scrutineers from Southern, from Midlands, from Peak and Dukeries, myself from Hanson Barks, others from Hanson Barks. So we have a good cross-section this year of club scrutineers, so that nobody should be getting through with their own club scrutineer, if you like. The standard of scrutineering has been I've been quite pleased with. We've had probably a 10% failure rate, which after they've been away and rectified these faults, probably in the end we've ended up with a 5% total failure rate that haven't been able to compete in their trial or RTV. We have had a couple of what we call in the trade sheds. We were looking for the pointed roofs because there were so much like sheds underneath, but hopefully after this national, the competitors that have come and been failed will go back to their club scrutineers and ask them why they weren't picked up at club level, but because this is what we've been aiming for at the, if you like, the top, i.e. the ARC. We've been constantly over the last 18 months, 2 years, since I took over as chairman of the scrutineering committee, going on and on and on at club scrutineers to make sure that their club's vehicles are correct before they even turn up at these inter-club national events. So they should have no problems. Unfortunately, we've had a few, but I think, as I said earlier on the whole, the standard scrutineering has been quite good.
The 1992 Comp Safari is sponsored by John Craddock Limited, the largest independent retailer of parts and accessories for Land Rovers and Range Rovers. Whether you own a 1948 Series 1 or a 1992 Discovery, John Craddock will supply you with the parts you need when you need them.
The competition safari features the fast men and women of off-roading, proving that these meaty rovers can really race. It's the weekend's Blue Ribbon event over a time course which builds in wooded sections with fast tree-lined straights, hairpins and jumps. Comp driver Caroline Bourne is from the Southern Club and is proof that both men and women can easily compete on equal terms.
First time at a national, I've done one other comp safari before this with the Anglian Rover Owners Club. There's nothing that women can't do that the men can. I think they, the husbands just won't move over and let them do it.
So what would you say to other women who see this and think, I wouldn't fancy having a go at that?
Do it, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they can handle it.
The Comp Safari can also be a grim reaper. Up to 30% of the 100 or so entries go out of the course after the first 2 runs. Rear-engine power packs have been banned in favour of a position right over the front wheels. Those looking for that vital edge on cornering, a nice taut set of urethane bushes on suspension radius arms wouldn't go amiss to eliminate much of the body roll, while heavy-duty shockers dampen the bumps. Owners spend small fortunes beefing up torquey V8s and supple coil suspension. Ron Baker from the Southern Club finished 9th overall and gave an insight into the hazards of the comp.
Every year's a good one. No such thing as a bad one. It got a little bit dusty towards the end, but everyone had a good fair chance. Oh, there's always lots of nasty bits that catch you out. You know, you just think you've got it in control, and then something else catches you out. I mean, it's just all the way around. You've got to have your wits about you, otherwise you're upside down a bit quick.
Alas, the comp safari came to a grinding halt a short while into the event when one of the entries turned over. The organisers decided to make minor adjustments to the course to make the circuit safer. These tight twisting sections and unexpected ruts could play out-and-out havoc with an otherwise speedy passage. The dust was the biggest hazard of the comp as drivers wrestled with the uneven surface to keep the right racing line and make sure that the timed run was kept to a minimum. Land and Range Rover EFIs had the edge, but last year's high-speed runs were out on this more testing South Poplars course.
He gets seasick in a bathtub.
all right.
This particularly nasty jump heralded the end of Comp Safari hopes for many an entrant. Drivers like Peter Riley from Lancs and Cheshire broke both front and rear differentials, taking the jump too hard. It gave him maximum penalty points on the first run, which may have cost him the overall title.
Well, we've done a jump and we flew right, didn't we? We just landed hard. We broke the back diff and then the front later on in the same stage. Start's not too bad, yeah.
Mainly it's keeping in the ruts all the way down.
The centre circuit's rough. So it wasn't that bad.
Nothing
dusty, wasn't it?
Dusty and bumpy. So it's like that all the way down.
Yeah, it was hard,
on
the
the cars. I mean,
a lot of cars dropped out.
Must be over half of them dropped out today. I mean, we weren't going to carry on until we got hold of 2 diffs. Decided we might as well.
It's only because it was dry,
yeah.
So dry.
It's just the type of ground that's on the clay.
Yeah.
It's so hard if you go out the wheel ruts, that's cars all over the place.
Right, it's doing like that.
Gary Tickett, one of the events.
One that's just gone up.
Yeah, so he's had 343, 349, 348.
Bill Hewitson, I've just finished 3rd in Class 8, behind this fella here who's beaten me for the 3rd year running. And you are?
Ron Baker from Southern, 2nd in class, but I think we're about 6 overall, I think.
Number 6, John Johnson, the driver.
Yes.
We're
in second place?
Joint second at the
second at the moment.
And the Martin's on the 6 runs? Yeah, the Martin's on the course now, can push us into joint 3rd.
He's on his last lap now. We're just waiting for his time. He's number 14.
14, yeah.
This is the one we're waiting for. He's on.
That's go round, isn't it?
It's what's left of the fan belt. 6th time.
You'll have to buy a new one.
It's a lot shorter course, but it was just as rough and demanding. But it was very, very dusty, what with the heat. This is his last event, so I've got to build another one there. It's worn out. Worn out. It's had 4 years hard work. Very proud, very proud.
So, once more, it's full marks to the Association for a top-notch competition event. The leaderboard reflects the best of 2 days of gruelling competition, featuring the winning drivers in their categories in Britain and beyond. Recently, Land Rover launched their Fragile Earth campaign, which encourages off-roaders to take care of the environment and be aware of the harm that 4x4s can do to our natural world if owners can't act responsibly. The National proved it's possible to enjoy a great weekend's competition off-roading without spoiling the essential reason for getting out there in the first place, a beautiful landscape. See you in 93.
Nigel Mansell does it again.
Take the gloves off. Got rid of the breakfast treat.
Running out of things to say.
Every event we do together. No, it's not good. It's not good.